Alright, valve adjustments part 3. Got the camshafts pulled off, cam chain. Kept tension on it, camshafts didn't come out too bad. The exhaust was a little tight and I kind of had to pry it out. Wasn't really digging that. But got everything apart, went pretty smooth. It seemed like some of the cap bolts had different torques on them, which I wasn't thrilled about either, but there's not a whole lot I can do. So yeah, and so as you're taking everything apart, I started on the intake side. I took both end caps off first. Now in the book it specifies to loosen all the caps evenly 1/2 turn as you go. And the reason for that is they don't want you to break a cap. Because as you're loosening them, there's tension on the whatever cylinders down or whatever. Because there's tension from the valves on the camshaft, so they don't, they really stress to loosen them evenly. But if you want a little bit of a shortcut, you can take each end one off completely, leaving the two inside ones tight, and then everything's still the camshaft still torqued down. Then just loosen these 1/2 turn at a time. Again, as long as you're careful, it'll be alright. But basically, I just took everything, as you can see here, laid it all out on the bench, exactly how it's going to go, or exactly how it was in the bike. Bolt for bolt. If you care about your bike, you're going to do that. Okay? Don't go mixing up your caps and your bolts and whatnot. If your bike's got 20,000 on it like this, I mean, the parts are worn in, for that specific spot. But yeah, basically got everything laid out, exactly how it's going to go in. Your cam chain tensioner, well, I'll cover that in the next video, but basically I pushed it all the way in. You just press this down. You just press this little tab down and you see clicks out, can't come back in. So you just press that down, press it down. You're going to want to install it like that. Now, as far as actually replacing shims, you should have all your measurements kind of written down like I do here, as you see. And I'm just going to show you one because obviously it's going to take a long time to go through all of them. But the reason why I'm doing this is I had a slight misfire on cylinder number 4. Alright, and I didn't like that. So you see this is out of spec for the intake. I'd like to see that closer to the middle, but I'm going to leave the .005, and the smallest feeler gauge I had wouldn't fit on this intake valve. Okay, obviously some issues with that. Again, at the exhaust, these .008s, that's at the bottom of your tolerances. It's still within spec though, so depending on the size of the shim, I'm going to leave them in. The book does say when you buy your shim kit, it's going to come in .05 increments. The book does specify, when it comes from the factory, they have shims in .01 increments. So you're going to have to round off whatever shim comes out. So I'm going to give you guys a little example here. Now, as far as taking these valve caps off and the shim out, you're going to need like a little magnet. I don't know how I came across this dart from a magnetic dartboard, but just so happen to have it. Alright, and what you're going to do is, your shims are under these caps here. So this was the problem child here. I believe this was causing my slight misfire. You know, it was kind of intermittent, and but I'm pretty sure that's the cause of it, because I couldn't even get a feeler gauge in there. But again, you can buy like one of those telescope magnets from the auto parts store or whatever you got, but you're going to need these to pull them. So you're just going to go ahead and put your magnet on the valve cap, pull her on out. Okay, very carefully, you don't want to drop nothing. Okay, shim's in the bottom of the cap. Alright, so let me get a good shot. See, that shim is a 182, alright? So obviously I know that's a factory shim because it's in 0.01 increments. I haven't seen any shims that you can get in 0.01 increments. So anyways, we're going to have to take that 182 and round it down to 180. So, again, the chart in the book, it's in metric, alright? So your measured clearance on that one I had over here, this is in inches. You're going to have to convert this. I know it sucks. Anyways, so we're going to take the shim size, round it down, 180, right? My measured clearance, 0.00 to 0.02 millimeters. I know it's getting a little confusing. So, shim size 180 with that measured clearance. I'm going to want to install a 165 shim. And again, you're not going to know what's installed in this unless you take it apart and then order your shims. I got this kit off eBay. It was about 80 bucks. And again, I just bought this because I don't want to be leaving this thing apart, alright? You forget how things go back together, it ain't good. But anyways, you just, you know, 80 bucks, you get a real nice shim kit like this. Got all the sizes, 3 of each. So what was it? My measured clearance was 180 at 0 clearance. It says to install a 165, but I couldn't get a shim to fit, so you know, I may even entertain putting in a 160. You know, I don't know. I'm gonna sit down and have a beer and think about this. But again, the book recommends a 165, so I mean, I don't know. We're gonna have to see. Again, I don't know how in-depth you're gonna get with this, but I have a micrometer. I plan on miking out the shim that's in here. See how it pulled out real nice like that? That is just excellent. See, pull it right out of the cap. Get a good shot of that. 182. But I got a micrometer again. I'm gonna mic this out. I'm gonna mic out what what it recommends, and mic out a 160, and see how I feel about it. I mean, I may have to take it apart again because again, I couldn't get a measurement on it. I don't know. But for the other ones like this, I measured a 0.003, converted to metric. What is that? That's a 0.076 in metric. So I'm gonna go ahead and round that to a 0.08. Again, we're talking about thousandths. You don't really want to round, but I don't have much of a choice. So I have a measured clearance of 0.08. Alright? And let me pull that valve cap just to see what it is. Alright, we'll leave that one there. Again, you don't want to get these mixed up though. I'm going to do one at a time. I'm just doing this for the video. So I'm going to pull this one out. This is my 0.003 of an inch, 0.08 millimeters. Again, using my magnet, just very gently. Shims in there. Look at that. That is just beautiful. They're coming out that way. Okay. I'm going to pull my shim out. And what do we got there? don't know if you can, I can't get a good angle with the camera. There we go. A 180 shim. So with a .08 measured clearance, millimeters, I'm going back to millimeters, I'm sorry, I'm probably confusing the fuck out of you, but you'll get a grasp on it when you have to do it. and a 180, shit, sorry book, damn it. Anyways, 0.08 millimeter, it's got a 180 shim. It's recommending that I put a 175 in. Sounds good to me. And basically you're going to have all your clearances written out real nice. And you're just going to replace the shims as you go. And that's as far as it goes for that. See you guys for part 4.